Flynry naturally is in shock. And he's gonna search this desert scape for any structure or light or semblance of a direction to go.
Roll me a perception check.
23.
23. You're standing in this vast green desert. The sand, like the color of a mirror, reflected too many times. That faint pale green blows in the wind above you as you look into the horizon. Just a black space with dazzling colors, nebulas, black holes, suns, planets, all of these stars forming and flickering and things moving around. On the horizon, you see columns of sand being lifted up into the sky, almost like fingers reaching out to touch the heavens, as the tips of those fingers are pulled off into space, forming more nebulas and celestial events as this sand whips across the desert and cuts paths, and the sand blasts in your face. Cold, surprisingly cold in this place. As this sand blasts your eyes and your face, you cannot discern which way is what. You have no sense of direction in this place. As you look out on that horizon and the sand looks up, everything's slowly, it's all waving just a bit, almost as if this entire place is a mirage, as that just color green infects everything. And you try to walk one direction towards the horizon or a different direction. No matter what point you designate on the horizon, you never seem to get any closer, as this wind just bitter and cold whips your face and the sand just, blasts your skin.
As panic kind of sets in, fight or flight's going to start to kind of become a thing for Flynry, and I think he's gonna shift because it makes him feel safer, and hopefully toughens his hide a little bit to be able to resist some of these elements. And I almost feel like in this situation, maybe more than any other, after the shock and almost clothesline that was the day that he's had into this moment. I almost think he almost shifts too far. And the seams on his clothes rip, and he starts to kind of almost become the animal rather than a man with a beast form. And I think in this moment he's aimless, without directionless. This inner struggle of fight or flight will lead to this shift and into just a scream of confusion, of sorrow, of loss, and fear. And he'll kind of just like hunker into like almost like a ball, like a rock shaped beast ball in this sand, as and kind of let it just pelt him as he screams into the ground.
Yeah, and as you sit there and you scream, for what seems like an eternity to you, roll me a history check.
13.
Okay. Roll me a wisdom check.
Natural 1.
You are very, very confused. You are able to retain these memories of this past life you had, now becoming more the reality again, remembering everything that had happened, your death, but also remembering everything that you had learned in this village. It's almost like you've lived 2 lives, and you retain the memories of a wife, of a son, of an entire life that you didn't even live. But somehow those memories are there, even though those people don't even exist. So it's this, you understand now that your true reality was your death, and you understand that this is some sort of aberration or something, but you're so confused, you don't understand how it could be possible. Roll me a perception check.
19.
As you're screaming and confused and things are whipping around you and the sand is pelting you, you start to get the feeling as you're looking out across the horizon, the sand whipping, flurries blowing across, a sandstorm begins to roll in. A small spouts of tornadoes lifting the sand and moving it here or there. You get the feeling that you are not alone.
Flynry will just lift his head from this kind of hunker down, and then that feeling of that someone's there will just scream into the void. Who's there?
There's no answer but the wind. But as you look up, staring at the horizon, this storm rolling in, that sand that was forming into a storm in the air begins to pull down and shift and swirl and mix with the sand on the ground, as almost forming out of nothing from this sand, a giant minotaur forms in front of you, made of this green sand, a green hue, backlit across this sky of nebula and other particles. This minotaur now stands before you, giant axe in hand, and begins to charge you. What do you do?
This is an environment that Flynry is intimately familiar with. The concept of battle, of fighting, of sacrifice if needed. This is probably the most comfortable he's felt since he woke up from the nap.
Mm-hmm.
And in this kind of overbeast, he's just gonna charge right back.
Okay. As this minotaur comes in, I need you to roll for initiative. Well, I gotta put you in the initiative order here. There we go.
Okay.
The minotaur with a 7 on initiative.
Okay, and this is just a 20 for me.
You hit the fist icon at the top right, and then click the button. Click the dice button. 17. All right, yeah, you go first. As this minotaur comes in to charge you with this axe, you're charging in as well. Go ahead. You're first to act here.
Okay. So Flynry is going to go for the inflict wounds.
Okay. Let's see. Yep.
That's 27 to hit.
That will hit. Roll the damage.
It's going to be 24 necrotic damage.
24 points of necrotic damage. As you inflict these wounds, what's it look like as you're inflicting them?
Flynry, in this like almost insane, controlless beast form, his claws are just a little bigger than he's used to having them, and this is less of an enhancement and more of a transformation. And he sees this minotaur and its broad chest, and that's a prime target to go straight for a heart. And he's gonna leap off the ground, and this vertical leap is improved seemingly since he was last awake, and he's gonna latch on with these claws into the chest of this minotaur and just pull, trying to tear as much fiber away as the necrotic venom kind of oozes out of the cuticles of his claws into these open wounds on the minotaur's chest.
Okay, anything for a bonus action?
Yeah, let's take a bonus action. Let's do that. We go for an unarmed strike.
Yeah. Well, you could go flurry of blows even.
Could we go for okay? Well, we'll do the unarmed strike for now. 22 to hit.
That'll hit.
Okay. And 7 bludgeoning damage.
All right, yeah, 7 bludgeoning damage as you're just pounding into this minotaur. its turn at the same time as you're diving into it. He's got that axe and has picked up speed, and as you meet each other, he is charging into you, trying to bear down part of his head to catch you with a horn. As he is going to use this this charge, you need to make a strength saving throw. You can just click that save DC 14 strength button there.
It is not responding for me, but I will do a strength save.
Yeah, just do a strength save then.
Yeah. It's a 6.
6. You will fail. You're going to take 6 points of damage, and you will be knocked prone, and you get knocked back as you dig into his chest. Uses that horn to flip you off, and you get thrown 10 feet away onto the ground on your back as he moves forward again, so using more of his movement, and he's going to come in attacking recklessly, meaning he takes advantage on this attack, but you get advantage on him next attack with his great axe. He's going to come strike straight down on you. Does a 17 hit?
No.
17 does not hit, so he brings this axe up all tall and wild and slams it down, and you're able to dodge out of the way, and as the axe hits the ground, the blade of it shatters into sand, and as he picks it back up, it reforms as it pulls the sand back out of the desert above you. But that is his turn. It's cool, right?
I'm kind of rooting for the Minotaur now, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Tell me more. Yeah. Can't imagine. Okay. We are gonna go for the flurry of blows.
Okay.
Assuming that was the end of his turn.
Yeah, that was the end of his turn.
23 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay, 7 bludgeoning damage.
7 points of bludgeoning damage. Yep.
All right, and then
you get 2 hits with the flurry.
2 hits with the flurry. Going in for 26 to hit.
That'll hit. Crushing it.
10 points of bludgeoning damage.
All right, 10 points of bludgeoning damage. From that, that was your bonus action. You still have an action.
We're going right back in for the inflict wounds.
Okay, yeah. Inflict wounds again.
Ooh, maybe not.
Let's see. How many times do you have it a day?
Looks like, I guess, just one.
Yeah. Okay, it might just be once per short rest.
All right. Rest. We'll go for another flurry, I suppose.
Okay.
Let's see. I've got. Oh, you know what?
You've got unarmed strikes. You have a bow.
Yeah, I've got a bow. I'm gonna try Shadow Arts. Does that help me out here?
It's not an attack, but it's
not an attack. Okay,
you know, those are just kind of your features.
Let's try a. Oh, that's not gonna do it either. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit reacquainted here with some of these.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, we'll go for another flurry.
Okay. Well, you can do 2 unarmed strikes as your action.
Okay, 2 unarmed strikes it is. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, go for it. Roll those unarmed strikes.
12 to hit.
12 is not going to hit.
Okay. 20 to hit.
20 will hit.
Okay. We'll grab 12 points of bludgeoning damage.
12 points of bludgeoning damage as you still kind of beating into this Minotaur, sliding around, trying to dodge him as he's swinging this axe left and right over your head. You're just ducking around and you punch him, and you're missing one punch because you punched through a hole you already made in his chest, as there's just these holes just like dug out of his chest as that sand begins to like refill the holes as fast as you can punch them almost, though.
Does Flynry notice any kind of like structural like integrity key point, a spine, or anything that's holding this together as he's punching all these holes in the Minotaur?
Roll me an investigation check.
8.
You can't discern any sort of weak point here. It doesn't seem like he has one. He's made of sand. And actually, I need you to roll me. Go ahead and roll me 4 more D20s.
4 D20s.
Yeah,
You
roll
got
them
it.
individually though, because
Okay.
he attacked recklessly, so you had advantage on every attack.
18.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me another one.
4.
Okay.
2.
Okay.
And 13.
Okay. So I don't believe. Let's see. What's your plus 9, 13. So actually, the one you missed is going to hit. So you can roll the damage for one more of those unarmed strikes.
Okay. That was the. There we go. It's going to be 7 points.
Okay.
Damage.
Yeah. So 7 points because I forgot he attacked recklessly. So.
Cool. Just as it's up for you, it's switched me in the chat log to Kyle.
That's okay.
Okay.
I don't know why it does that, but
all right.
Just make sure to click on your token before you roll. I think it'll do that.
Okay.
In any case, okay. So as you're striking them there, making purchase all these hits, he's gonna again just wildly swinging around this great axe with reckless attack, swinging with advantage. A 25 to hit.
That hits.
All right, that one's gonna hit. 20 points of slashing damage comes in across your chest as he is going to swing again.
Oh my goodness.
22 to hit. 17 more points of slashing damage as this axe comes in, cutting you across the chest, and as you reel away, coming back, cutting you across the back. These wounds, not like any blade you've ever been cut by, cold and lifeless, even colder than steel, as this sand is almost like ice, and it doesn't quite cut your flesh like the smoothness of a blade. It's sand. It's like sand just ripping your flesh. It's like these wounds are jagged and being just torn as the grittiness of that sand, and as the axe hits you again, it falls apart around your body as sand just hits, and as he pulls it back, it reforms into that axe again as it stands tall in front of you. Although now you do notice chunks of that sand are seeming to be having a little trouble staying together as it begins to crumble and pull apart in places.
Okay. All right. All right, we're gonna. Flynry would like to. I guess. How is it that I come about seeing that I have a short bow this whole time?
I don't know. Yeah, you do have one.
Okay, cool. Got one. Let me ask this question. Flynry is now realizing that he is clearly in a place that is not normal. This land is not operating by the rules of conventional physics of world that he's been in. Is he able to manifest any power here?
Roll me a survival check.
$27.
27. You notice that this creature is made of sand. His axe made of sand. And you have that feeling, and with a hero point, I will let you, in this moment, you're seeing everything for the first time, being adept on the battlefield. You're adapting to your situation. You're understanding things a little bit more clearly. The confusion starting to wane as you look up in the sky and seeing all this sand being pulled up into the sky. You stick your hand into that sand, and again, with a hero point, feeling that sand shift around your hand, you begin to imagine a weapon. What are you imagining?
Okay. Flynry is going deep into the sand right now. I think he's about up to his elbow, and he's just something beneath it is as you kind of described, just mutating and shifting, and he's going to kind of reveal the hilt of what appears to be a great sword. And when he removes it from the sand, that great sword is a flame with a blue searing flame, one that would almost be required for something like glass blowing.
Okay. Yeah, and as you pull that greatsword out of the sand and it forms in your hand, impossibly not understanding how it works, but just going with it because you're understanding, you've seen how this works for him and are emulating those moves in this moment of clarity on the battlefield. Go ahead and it is on your character sheet now. You can attack with it in your inventory.
I'm gonna roll with that greatsword for 9.
You should have an extra +9 to that because you will be proficient with it. So
18.
Okay, yeah, 18.
18 to hit.
18 to hit. 18 will hit.
Okay. I am wondering if I spent a key point. This is going to be a little bit creative here. If I spent a key point, rather than going for a simple slashing attack, if my goal was to hinder this Minotaur's movement by glassing one of its legs, by burying the blade into it in a one-off, I would like to do that instead of a standard attack.
Yeah, absolutely. Roll the damage.
Okay.
And then add on a because this sword's the fire properties you were talking about. Roll a d8 of fire damage as well.
Okay. All right, so that is 7 slashing and 8 flame damage.
All right, 15 points of damage as you cut in with this blade across the leg. It sears that sand and it becomes molten for a second as you chop through. And as he pulls back and lifts this leg up, you see the sand on the leg trying to reform, but each part of the leg on each end of the cut has been turned into a mirror as that glass has been melted and formed and cauterized into a mirror, and that sand can't reform back past that point of being a reflection on each side. So the Minotaur stands with one leg still, and you still have a bonus action.
Bonus action, I will go for...
You can use the sword again if you want.
All right, we'll do the sword. We'll do one more sword swing here.
This cool, dope sword you pull out of the sand. Why not use it?
Cool, dope sword. Yeah, 19.
It's plus 9 on that
plus
one.
9, 21?
21, that'll hit, definitely.
Okay. All right, we'll get some damage here for that, and then also with the d8s. The 9 slashing, 7 fire damage.
Write his obituary.
Okay. So Flynry, in this moment, this sword, he has no idea how he has this sword, sees the wound on the Minotaur on the one leg, and takes a power stance in front for this final charge of the attack. Throws the sword kind of behind him, low, and holding it as if he's going to run. And in doing so, the sword it touches the sand beneath his feet just ever so briefly, and the flame travels to the bottoms of his boots, and he's creating this glass surface as he's running, so that he's not hindered at all movement-wise on this sand. So he's in a dead sprint with this giant flaming sword. Glass is breaking under his feet as he's running, and he reaches the Minotaur and leaps into the sky with just an immense bestial power. Takes this great sword and brings it down between the eyes of the Minotaur, slicing his entire body in half. Glass forming on the insides of the cut, mirrors where Flynry looks to one side and sees his human form, to the other side and sees his bestial form, glancing back at him with a determination and grit that he hasn't seen in a long time. His two halves represented here as he defeats what will surely be the first of many foes in a new world.
Yeah, as you just totally slice him in half, seeing yourself in those mirrors, the rest of that sand of that Minotaur, as it falls to the ground, hits and is picked up again by the wind and carried away. But those two chunks of mirror in the silhouette of a minotaur lay there on the ground, completely cauterized, and you stand here for a moment, breathing heavily, the sand, cold sand still blowing in your face again. You're once again alone in this desert. You look down at that sword, though, as it's been glowing hot with this energy, begins to cool in your hands and becomes a mirror itself. Still a sword, still yours to have, but it has a mirror finish now on it, and you can, as you look in it, you can see in yourself this. Well, roll me a perception check.
$28.
Okay. As
First
you
decent roll I'll take.
as you look into this sword, you see yourself reflected back. You see both halves reflected back in this image simultaneously, but you also see past it. You start to see things in this mirror that give you indications about this place, feelings of where to go and how to navigate. You're somehow connected now to the sand, to this mirror. You understand it a little bit more, not in a conscious type of way, but as you look into that mirror, you start to see things that aren't here, though. You see reflections of your friends Toddleheim and Lockett in a life after your death. You see past that to other people and places you knew in the world, but that fades away quickly as in that sword you begin to just see the shifting of sand, and as you see it in the sword, it begins to happen below your feet. Now the sand in this desert starting to pull itself in a certain direction towards a space on the horizon, as if guiding you to walk in this direction, now somehow connected to this place, and having this sword is, for the moment, giving you the ability to travel as you walk distantly into the horizon, as that battle rage subsides and you continue to walk on alone, but still now with a heading, going exactly where you want to go. As you look into this night sky of nebulas and the sand is strafing, being cut, dunes lifting and falling around you. Any thoughts here as you make your way alone through this desert?
So as I make my way alone through this desert, I'm exhausted and confused and afraid, but it's also somehow comforted by the sword. The mirror finish seeming to bring a little more groundedness to this new place. As Flynry holds the sword in front of him one more time before he's going to sling it onto his back, he stares at his own reflection and kind of looks the blade up and down as his eyes meet the point in the mirror finish where the crossguard meets the blade, right along that bottom part of the sword. He stops because he sees a small gold kind of flicker, as in some language that he doesn't know but can somehow read. The word truth inscribes itself on the blade. And he thinks about that for a moment, puts the sword onto his back, and starts to walk off towards the horizon as the sand kind of starts swirling around. And he has a feeling that something is it's going to be okay somehow.
All right. And you walk on into that desert for days, weeks, months, maybe years. Indiscernible at this point. But you continue on with your sword in hand, hoping, praying for some sort of connection or a way out of this place. For now, lost, but with some sort of heading, you walk on.